Is that?
I'd like to call this meeting to order and to welcome you to our June State Board of Education meeting. I'll also selfishly take this opportunity, if my husband is listening, to wish him publicly a happy 50th birthday to Dr. Tim Woodall. It might be his lunch break. Mr. Walters, will you lead us in the pledge?
Certainly, if you please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Is there any objection to approving the minutes as presented? Hearing none, they are approved by unanimous consent. Is there any objection to approving our agenda as presented? Hearing none, the agenda is also approved by unanimous consent. I don't see any visitors today, and we don't have anyone signed up. Do we have any news media with us? Okay. Well, welcome to all of you who are attending in person and virtually. We appreciate your interest in the work of the State Board of Education. Last month, I think I mentioned how proud we are of our graduates, and I know that many ceremonies are still taking place for the South Carolina class of 21, so we continue our well wishes to all of them. And I also thought about a shout out to an important group across our state. I was reflecting on this past school year, and I remember standing with the support staff and looking at the piles of plexiglass and our changed bus routes and our cafeteria design and our virtual hybrid models and the DHEC tracking that was sent to us. And we were all standing there together, and everybody said, "Oh, Christy, how are we going to do this?" I said, "Well, I don't know, but we're a team, and we're going to figure it out together." So I'm sure that's a sentiment that everybody across the state felt this time last year when we were going into an unprecedented year. But we're wrapping up that year, and we all did have a successful year. So I would like to give a shout out to our support staff members across the state. We could never have functioned any school year without them, but especially not this year. So I would encourage you, when you go back to your home districts, to find cafeteria, bus drivers, school nurses, and the custodians and tell them thank you, because they really worked hard this year. And now I'll call on Superintendent Spearman for her report.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and well said. We really do owe an incredible amount of appreciation to support staff and all of our teachers, administrators. I'm going to share a couple good news stories with you. Back about 3 weeks ago, I got a phone call that says, looks like our Greenville shop is out of gas, out of fuel. And they've got enough fuel for tomorrow morning, but they won't be able to finish the evening route. And then the calls started coming in from other situations like that. We were alerted after the Colonial Pipeline shut down. It really affected us tremendously. But I bet you never even knew that, did you? Most people never knew it. But we were in close call of many of our schools not being able to operate. But a support staff of our transportation folks here at the department notified 42 school bus maintenance facilities to be proactive. And the situation got worse, and we had to have an emergency meeting with our 4 area transportation supervisors. They evaluated each bus shop's fuel supply, and we contracted with Mansfield Petroleum. 6 fuel trucks came with extra fuel out of Savannah, Georgia, and a transfer of fuel was going on while we slept, and not a single bus missed a stop. And I want to say a special thank you to the Director of Transportation, Gary Fast. I'm sure they're all watching. If any of these folks happen to be in the room, please stand. Mike Bullman, Director of Maintenance, Bill Tyndall, Director of Business Services, and Elsie Montgomery, Director of Purchasing, Matt Peck at Mansfield Petroleum. And I'd like to recognize the area supervisors who played an extraordinary part. Their names are on the chart there. Supervisor Thomas Holmes in Area 1, Robert Hoffman, and Donna Dorn. And you see the names of those individuals. I won't read all of them. But there were transferring fuel all across the state while we slept, and it was extraordinary what they did those few days ago, but also what they've done, like you said, the entire year since all of this pandemic started. So a special round of applause to thank our transportation folks. Since I saw you last, I was able to go over to thank another important person who represents all of our bus drivers across the state. Mr. Kenneth Corbin was honored in his home district. That's him seated to the right of me there standing, for his heroic actions protecting the students in Richland 2 when his school bus was boarded by an armed hijacker. And he had about 20 students, elementary children, on his bus. The children helped out. I haven't seen the whole tape, but I think they went to action by asking the hijacker lots of questions, like, "Mister, where are you going? Mister, what are you doing?" To the point that he finally decided he was going to get off the bus. But not true. He did let them get off the bus, and Mr. Corbin brought the children around him like a little hen with the baby chicks, and they all took care of each other. Not a single person was harmed. And what a humble gentleman who had a career and then came back to work as a bus driver as kind of a second career, and was prepared in that moment, in the right place at the right time. So we thank him so much. Last week we had our military honor cord ceremony. You know, South Carolina has the practice of giving every graduate a red, white, and blue cord. We have several thousand students each year who have selected to go into the military. This was done virtually. Derek worked on that presentation with others in our communications office. Our guest speakers, you see there, Senator Tim Scott, Congressman Joe Wilson, and Adjutant General McCarty all participated in that event, and it's one that I'm very, very proud of. Earlier, a few days ago, I spoke at the virtual charter school graduation where they had over 400 graduates. It was in person over at the Firefly Stadium, a wonderful ceremony. I wish you could have been there to heard the speech given by the valedictorian of the class and her story of being here living in America. It's extraordinary. And graduations are going on all across our state. I have to share this with you because this morning I went over to Greenwood to speak at Greenwood Promise, their breakfast kickoff for the second phase. The Greenwood County pays the last dollar. If a student doesn't have enough scholarship money to go to a 2 or 4 year college, every native-born, every resident student of Greenwood County has that guaranteed to them. It's extraordinary. And one young man spoke today, and I was so taken by his story. I want to share this with you to tell you how important the work is that you do. He started off, he said, "My name is Daniel, and I want to tell you my story. I'm the first person in my family who will be able to go to college, and thanks to the Greenwood Promise," he said, "people ask me, what does this mean to me?" He said, "I don't have words when somebody helps your dream come true." He said, "You have to know my story. My parents came to America, and about 3 years ago, his father died. Then a year later, his mother was deported, and he spent the first 2 years of high school without a roof over his head. He moved from house to house with his friends. to have a place to sleep at night, all the while going to school with this dream. Family adopted him. He graduated last week from Emerald High School. He's going to be going to Piedmont Tech, and his dream is to own his own construction business, which Greenwood Promise will help him do. And he wants to build tiny houses to meet the need of homelessness in America and in South Carolina and in Greenwood. There are students like that all across our state. I met two of them last week at Virtual SC. There are many students who don't have it that hard. But I want you to know that even the students who have almost every obstacle that you can imagine in front of them, they have that dream of graduating high school and going on to become that citizen, that successful citizen that we need. And we're all a part of that, from the support staff, from the bus drivers, the cafeteria workers, to the teachers, principals, state board members. Y'all are all a part of this really, really important work that we're doing. And we did it this year, even through a pandemic. So thank you so much. And it's a joy to serve and work with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Molly.
Moving on to the parliamentarian comments. Ms. Hazelwood.
Well, this is a nice segue, if you will, because I would like to take a moment to recognize an incredibly important person, and that's Noelle Redd. And as you know, this is Noelle's last state board meeting. After 36 years with the Department of Education, Noelle has decided to retire, much to my and others' distress. 33 of those 36 years have been spent herding cats in the Office of General Counsel, and the most important of those years have been the last 6 when she had to herd me. Noelle's dedication to the agency cannot be overstated, not unlike a marriage, through sickness and health, through good times and bad. Noelle's gift is her ability to take any difficult problem, break it down into manageable concepts, solve the problem, and then reduce it to a written procedure. And that's why we can wish Noelle the happiest of retirements, because she's leaving us a written procedure for everything. For everything. So I would like to ask Noelle and Chair Woodall to please join me at the podium.
Yeah. She'll be on camera.
Yeah.
You guys probably turn around.
Oh, which way do we go? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea which way to go, but I won't read the entire thing. But I do want y'all to know. I mean, I made comments because I knew I couldn't keep it together. But Noelle has been a godsend to me, and this is not about me, but let me assure you, I am not the first godsend. I'm not the first person she's been a godsend to in this agency, okay? And she is wonderful, and I'm going to miss her every day. But she is leaving us in the very best of hands because, again, a written procedure for everything. And what a blessing. What a blessing. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may, I do think we have 3 visitors, maybe 4 with us. Gary, Mike, you'll bring your folks. I didn't realize y'all were out there. Come on up here, Alvin. Yes. I said all kind of nice things about y'all. Okay. Mike, Thomas, Robert Hoffman, yeah, and Gary. Come on, Gary, you got it. No, come on. These gentlemen, I told the folks your story about how this catastrophe almost happened with the fuel shortage, and we all slept and got a good night's sleep and never knew it. That's what you call handling the situation, and we appreciate what you did then and what you do every day. Our transportation system is just dynamic, and it's because of the great folks and great leadership that you all give us every day. So one more round of applause.
Thank you again. Reviewing the work of our committee meetings this morning, we started with policy and legislative. We had one item of approval, and that was from Horry and Charleston, requesting exemption pursuant to 43261. We also had one information item, which had to do with a request for a waiver. Both would set precedents for similar school districts in their virtual education plans that are being submitted for next school year. So that item of approval has been placed on the consent agenda. Ms. Pearson, will you talk to us about your Educator Professions Committee?
Yes, Madam Chair. The Education Profession Committee approved 9 action items this morning. Number 1 was the State Accreditation Decision, Spring 2021. Item number 2, National Accreditation Decisions, Spring 21. Item 3, Alternate Route Program Approval, Additional Certification Field for the Carolina Cooperative Alternative Prep Program, CAPS. Item 4, Alternative Route Program Approval, Greenville Alternative Teacher Education Program, GATE. Item 5, Assisting Developing, Evaluating Professional Teaching, ADEPT, Support and Evaluation System Guideline for School Counselors. Item 6, ADEPT Support and Evaluation System Guidelines for Speech Language Professionals. Item 7, ADEPT Support and Evaluation System Guidelines for School Librarians. Item 9, Expanded ADEPT Support and Evaluation System Guidelines Revisions. Item 9, Alternative Route Program Approval, Additional Certification Fields for Teachers Charleston Program. Those 9 items were added to the consent agenda. We had 2 informational items. Number 10, Pilot Education Preparation Program Review Process, and 11, Expanded ADEPT Support and Evaluation System Student Learning Objectives for South Carolina Teaching Standards. And that ends my report.
Thank you so much. Ms. Stapleton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This morning, we had no approval items presented to our committee. However, we did have an information item, and Dr. David Mathis and Dr. Quincy Moore joined us for our meeting. And Dr. Moore gave an update on summer reading camps. She also shared that many districts with other available funding this year are serving other elementary age students who are behind grade level in reading. The Office of Early Learning and Literacy is also monitoring and supporting those camps throughout the summer. She was also able to share with us that 41 school districts are offering CERDEP summer camps, and 8 of those are offering extended day camps during the summer. And again, they have some pilot programs that are going on as well. So we appreciated their update, but we had nothing to add to the consent agenda today.
Thank you, Ms. Stapleton. And Chair-elect Walters, will you talk to us about the Educator Licensure Committee?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm happy to do that. Today, the committee heard 7 cases. We had one that was a order of public reprimand. We had 2 others that were consent orders of public reprimand. We had 3 cases that resulted in orders of suspension, and then we had 1 case that was a consent order of suspension. And all 7 of those cases were ratified during the full board license committee meeting.
Thank you so much. Any questions for any of those committees? As he mentioned, in the full board Educator Licensure Committee, we did ratify the work of the committee. We also reviewed 2 revocation cases. So the consent agenda has been handed out. There are 10 items there, 1 from P&L, 9 from the Educator Professions Committee. Do we have a motion to approve our consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Walters. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Stapleton. Do we have any questions or comments about the consent agenda?
Just one. This is Larry Kabrowski, Chairman.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I just, again, with the Educator License Committee, I just would like to respectfully abstain just from the consent agenda on the basis that I understand what the rules are, and I just don't feel I can vote on something I don't know enough about, with due respect, and I didn't want to object to anything else on the consent agenda, so I'm not quite sure how to do that again, parliamentary wise.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kabrowski.
You're welcome.
We'll make note of that. Any
Thank you.
other comments or questions from our virtual friends? All right, hearing none, we'll call that for a vote. All in favor of approving our consent agenda today, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed to the approval of the consent agenda? And one abstain.
As only as their committee, I approve everything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kabrowski. All right. We are ready for the State Department reports. Is that you, Ms. Presley?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. We are delighted to present the 2021 physical education standards to you for second reading and hopefully final approval. I want to thank Dr. Dawn Hawkins, who will be providing with the presentation again for the work that she did in shepherding this process while we waited for our new education associate for physical education and health. I referenced this gentleman last month. Dr. Ben Miedema is here with us today, so you can put a face with a name. Welcome, Dr. Miedema. And I will turn it over to Dr. Hawkins now.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and board members. It's an honor to be here today to present for you for second read the 2021 College and Career Ready Physical Education Standards. Along with a team of South Carolina educators, higher education, and business and community members, we began the process for revising the standards in October of 2019 with a field review to inform recommendations. The recommendations guided initial revision in the summer of 2020. Public review provided another set of suggestions for a second round of revisions this past spring. As you can see, for our field review and standards revision, we were fortunate to have representation from our entire state. Among the educators that served on their review panel and writing team, we brought in experts in multiple aspects of physical education to ensure a college and career-ready lens, a knowledge of adaptive PE, and a real-world community lens. Field review recommendations highlighted the need for physical education standards to meet the whole child of every child with a measurable and proficiency-based language that is aligned to the profile of the South Carolina graduate. The perspectives from the educators and field experts provided support in revising standards that focus on progressing the whole child, addressing the body, psychomotor, mind, cognitive, and spirit affective skills. The needs, in addition, standards are developmentally appropriate, including adaptive standards to show how every child can perform psychomotor, cognitive, and affective skills within a level of their own proficiency. Public review led to additional revision of the standards for clarity around the language of performance. Using proficiency-based language provides teachers with the opportunity to identify and differentiate learning for all students based on their proficiency range: novice, foundational, intermediate, showing more depth of knowledge, and advanced, understanding the student ownership going beyond the classroom. Proficiency levels describe how students are demonstrating skills, abilities, and knowledge of their physical education. Public review also informed the need to align the structure and organization of the standards to show progression of proficiency, such as the language of learning domains and learner benchmarks. Thank you all for your time and attention to approving the 2021 College and Career Ready Physical Education Standards.
Thank you so much. So that is our second reading of the College and Career Ready Standards. We also have a State Department report from Claire Luther, Budget and Instructional Material Manager, about the textbook repository.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Thank you. Each year, we have to approve, or the board has to approve the central depository. And this year, the Publishers Association has again chosen the R.L. Bryan Company to be our central depository, and that is up for approval by the board today.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions? All right, I don't hear any questions. We need a motion to approve the PE standards, SBE 01. Do we have a motion to approve those standards?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Stapleton. Do we have any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. All right, those are approved unanimously. And the SBE 02 item, which is the textbook repository, depository, do we have a motion on that?
I make a motion we approve R.L. Bryan as the selection of the state book textbook depository.
Thank you, Ms. Stapleton. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Walters. Any discussion on that one? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. That also passes. Thank you. For information, we also have Ms. Luther talking about the allocation methodology for the school year. Are you ready for that one?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I just didn't want to sit down and have to come back up. Again, this year, our methodology has not changed. We do it by 4 methods. It's grade, class, or course enrollment, which we use our Power School enrollment for that. The school or district curriculum, and it's 1 student edition per child, print and or digital, except where classroom sets are available, and that could be in music or art or PE. And then the publisher program selected, and that could be, an example of that is a kit.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions for her?
Apparently not, because she's so comfortable at the podium.
She's ready to go. She's going to answer from her seat.
She's like, I'm out of here, man.
Our next information item from the State Department is Nancy Williams, the Chief Financial Officer, to talk about the employment of retired individuals for 2021.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, other members of the board. As you are aware, every year you all designate those critical subject need areas and the critical geographic areas across the state for which retired certified educators can be employed without being subjected to that $10,000 earnings limitation. And Section 9/1/1795 of the retirement law is kind of what you use as the basis for making those decisions. And so that retirement limitation pretty much applies to those individuals that retired prior to January 1st, 2013, before reaching the age of 62. And so we have a process here at the agency where districts submit assurance forms that they submit on behalf of eligible educators to be exempt from that limitation. So we work with districts, and then we work with PEBA in order to make sure that the teacher's record is properly updated so that they won't lose any benefits. So also in that statute, it says that after the State Department approval, the districts are supposed to notify the State Board of Education of the engagement of retired teachers. So I stand before you today for that notification. So what you have before you, I believe you have in your information, is the number of exemptions and approvals that we've granted for the fiscal year by district. And as you can see, almost every district in the state in some form or fashion utilizes this process. Over the years, it continues to increase the number of forms that we approve every year. There's about a 6% increase over the approvals from last year, and I think about a 31% increase from the number of approvals that we gave in fiscal year 19. So, Madam Chair, that's really all the information that I have to share. I provided the notification, so I'm available if there are any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? I don't hear any. Thank you. Our third item is Dr. Mathis, who's going to give a literacy update.
Thank you, Dr. Woodall and members of the board. And today's update is going to be a little broader than just literacy. As you thank those folks, support staff, it reminds me that closing a school year is a very busy time. And so there's a lot going on out there, and a lot of our districts have a lot of busy things that they're doing. But one of the things they have just completed and turned in on Friday was the academic recovery plans. We heard from all districts by the deadline of March 28. And to date, 73 plans for the districts have been evaluated by a team of readers. And we're currently formalizing the process for feedback to districts. And in reviewing those plans, we focused on 5 key areas. One, are the goals set aside in the plan, do they indicate specific strategies for providing information and interventions to address specific tiers of remediation of the learning lag for students in math and English language arts? We also focused on interventions. Were the interventions outlined or were they focused on accelerating learning for all students who were below grade level in their expectations, and what were they doing to help meet and exceed grade level expectations? Were the interventions outlined in the goals, are they evidence-based, and are they informed by multiple data sources? Was there a clear timeline for the benchmarks and progress monitoring of each goal to be able to support the completion of the goal? And finally, was there specific funding included? What were the funding sources included that they would use to sufficiently allocate the support of those interventions? Districts will be asked to resubmit their plans if evidence was lacking in any of those key areas. The academic recovery plans will play an important role in the district plans that will be submitted in the ESSER III funding. Districts have been asked to align their ESSER III funding plan with their academic recovery plan in addressing learning loss, after-school programs, and summer programs. And finally, as districts monitor progress toward each of the goals of the academic recovery plan, the department will assist in supporting areas where progress is not being met, as well as reporting areas where progress is being made and which strategies are the most promising. So more to come on the academic recovery plans, but that's been several months' worth of work for our districts to get that ready.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Dr. Mathis? I don't hear any. Thank you. Ms. Mack is going to talk to us about our updates on Allendale, Florence 4, and Williamsburg. She's virtual.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms.
Good
Mack.
afternoon, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share some brief updates with you on Allendale, Florence 4, and Williamsburg County School Districts. Several events for seniors took place in the month of May to include congratulatory yard signs placed in senior yards, a JROTC award ceremony, senior prom, and an athletic cookout and signing day. And Allendale County seniors graduated on June 4th. Also on June 4th, Fairfax Elementary School's kindergarten students participated in their 2021 kindergarten moving up ceremony. In Florence School District 4, they completed the SC Ready and SC Pass testing as well as benchmark testing during the month of May. And they held a 5th grade promotion ceremony on May 28th and a 4K graduation parade on May the 29th. And graduation for their seniors was June 4th. In Williamsburg County School District, Dr. Wilder recently held 9 conference calls between May 24th and the 26th to discuss ESSER funding and to get input on how ESSER 3 funds should be spent. And she also sought parental input in developing the reopening of schools plan. And Greeleyville Elementary was one of 203 schools nationwide to receive the $5,000 Laura Bush Grant for literacy. This concludes my report.
Do we have any questions for Ms. Mack? Thank you for that report.
Thank you.
And I think I saw Mr. Strother. Will you give us an update on Clarendon's financial?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. On July the 1st, 2021, Clarendon School District 1 will consolidate with Clarendon School District 3 into Clarendon 4. The State Department of Education took over financial management of Clarendon School District 1 after the state board approval on October the 15th. At that time, the district reported a $2.3 million cash deficit, not enough cash to meet their operating obligations. A South Carolina retirement system liability of $800,000, an IRS liability of $425,000, a South Carolina Department of Revenue liability of $125,000, and a tax anticipation note coming due in April of about $2.6 million. So as a result, we put a spending freeze in place. Vacant positions were not filled, and the duties were handled through the shared services. A furlough of 10 days for the superintendent was put in place, and federal expenditure reimbursement claims were beginning to be filed at that time. As a result of those actions, the retirement system, the IRS, and the South Carolina Department of Revenue obligations have been paid in full. The tax anticipation note has been paid in full, and operating cash is sufficient to meet the operating expenses of the district with an expected surplus. So currently, we are in the process of closing the books with an audit, trying to get the audit completed, and filing the remaining federal reimbursement claims and completing operations of the district at this point. We're coming to a close of the fiscal year. That will be June 30th. So at this time, that's what the picture looks like. So I'm open for any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? We appreciate the work that your team has done there. That's good news.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Items of other business. I'm going to call on our parliamentarian, Ms. Hazelwood.
We will be in Timmonsville this evening. Kim Mack didn't share that we are going to Timmonsville. We're taking the show on the road. Derek's going, I'm going. But to discuss the consolidation with Florence 1. So that is a pending consolidation. I would like to spend just a few moments thinking about what our meetings will look like going forward. We have had a year of every form of technology and technology glitch that you could possibly have. I don't know if y'all can remember back when we started this, and it was, who's on the phone? Yeah. Click, who's on the phone? Click, who's on the phone? Yeah. It's torture. That's how you can torture me. We have gotten it down nearly to a science. There is not, I think, I don't want to be mean to anybody, but mostly it's user error at this point. It is not, we will take full blame for technology early on as we were figuring out, is it WebEx the best? Is Zoom the best? Is Microsoft Teams the best? It's not. Microsoft Teams is not the best. We found that out the hard way. But I will say, as difficult as it is at times to merge in the virtual, it has been very beneficial beneficial for those board members who would not come because they have a meeting where they are. If they showed up here, there's no way they could attend the meeting that they needed to attend. But if they are able to participate virtually, then they haven't left the comfort of their community and can make that meeting or doctor's appointment or care for that family member. That's been one of the things that has happened during this virtual period, is that people have been home participating in these meetings, but also caring for somebody at home. So I don't want to, I know the doors are wide open. I'm sitting here without a mask. I feel really weird about it, but I'm going to try to come out of my comfort zone now. But I do think we need to think about, what do our meetings look like? That's as close as I want anybody to sit next to me, as Barbara. I don't want anybody breathing down my neck anymore. We used to have so many people packed in this room, I could feel the people breathing behind me. Just the thought of that I don't like it. But we need to open up the room. We know that. We need to open up the room. We need to, I don't know what else I need to say, but I would very much like you to think about this before our August meeting. We do not have a July meeting. I am going to try as hard as I can not to have a special called meeting in July. But think about what you want our future meetings to look like. And what is your comfort zone for? We used to have 17, 18 people when the superintendent was in the horseshoe. We used to pack you in there. So if y'all are comfortable with that, but if you're not, I want to know that. I want to know what your comfort level is and what we can do to make you comfortable here, but you comfortable virtually as well. And we will have a number of new members. Again, we have new members coming on now from expired terms, long expired terms, and then some folks rolling off at the end of this calendar year. So be aware of that as well. Be mindful of your neighbor. Thank you.
I'll be glad to talk to them over the next month.
That would be great. If
and
you
get
could
you some feedback, especially from the ones we haven't seen in a while who've been doing virtual because of our limited seats. I'll definitely contact them and see
that would
if
be
that's
awesome.
an
That would be
I'll be glad
most
to.
helpful.
Yeah, I'll be
Thank
glad
you,
to.
Chair.
Madam Chair, I was just going to say, I heard we could get a good deal on plexiglass from Superintendent Spearman.
Yep.
If we wanted to put some of
Pack
that
them
in
back
here.
in. Pack them back in there. That we'll be happy. I'll be glad to do that. Do we have any other business? I don't hear any from our virtual friends. So if you have any forms that you need to turn in to Noel before you leave, please do that. Otherwise, our June meeting is adjourned. Oh, she said hand them to Tracy, not Noel. She's already retired. Hey, thank you so much. We'll miss you, Noel.
Thank
We're
you.
adjourned for June.